Welcome to the deep dive. So you've shared an article with us today, and it's looking at weight loss and obesity.
Yeah, a really complex topic.
Definitely. Our mission here is basically to cut through all the noise, pull out the key science-backed stuff.
Right, make it understandable without getting bogged down in jargon.
Exactly. We want you to walk away with a solid grasp of why this is such a big health challenge today.
And it really is a global challenge. The article highlights these rising rates, which affects personal health, obviously, but also the bigger picture.
Okay, so let's dive in. The article kicks off by defining obesity. And it's clear it's not just about, the number on the scale.
Not at all. Medically, it's defined as having excessive body fat that could actually harm your health.
And they mentioned BMI, body mass index, as a common way to measure this.
Yes, BMI is widely used. It's a ratio of your weight to your height. The World Health Organization uses it for classifications.
Right. So what are those categories?
Well, a BMI between 25 and 29.9, that's generally classed as overweight. And then 30 or above falls into the obese category.
Got it.
But, and this is really important, the article stresses that BMI is, well, it's a general guideline. It's a starting point.
Oh, so.
It doesn't actually distinguish between muscle mass and fat mass. Someone very muscular could have a high BMI, but be perfectly healthy.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And it also doesn't tell us where the fat is distributed on the body. And we know that, for example, fat around the abdomen carries different health risks.
So useful, but definitely not the whole picture.
Exactly. Think of it as a screening tool, maybe.
Yeah. So moving on from the what to the why, the article digs into the causes. And it's clear it's not just one single thing.
Definitely not. It's multifaceted. They list about 6 main contributing factors.
6. Okay, what's first?
Number 1 is poor diet. Consistently taking in more calories than you burn, especially from, high-fat foods, sugary drinks, processed stuff.
The typical Western diet in many cases.
Pretty much. Then there's a sedentary lifestyle. Lack of physical activity, more screen time, desk jobs. It all adds up to that calorie imbalance.
Yeah, that resonates with modern life for sure.
Yeah.
What about genetics? That comes up a lot.
It does, and genetics certainly play a role. They can influence your metabolism, appetite signals, even where your body tends to store fat.
So it is partly genetic for some people.
It can be a factor, yes. But the article makes a crucial point. Our environment and our lifestyle choices often play a much bigger role.
How do they explain that?
Well, think about it. Our collective gene pool hasn't dramatically changed in the last 50 years, right?
Right.
But obesity rates have skyrocketed. That strongly suggests that changes in our environment, like food availability, types of food, activity levels, are major drivers.
That's a really powerful point. Okay, so diet, inactivity, genetics. What else?
Hormonal imbalances are mentioned. Things like hypothyroidism, PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, and insulin resistance can definitely impact weight.
Okay, so medical conditions.
Yes. And then psychological factors, stress, depression, anxiety. These can all lead to changes in eating habits, sometimes emotional eating.
Comfort food.
Exactly. And finally, certain medications. Some antidepressants, antipsychotics, corticosteroids. Weight gain can be an unfortunate side effect for some people taking these.
Wow. Okay, when you lay it all out like that, diet, activity, genes, hormones, psychology, meds,
Yeah.
you really see it's complex.
It absolutely is. And
Yeah.
understanding that complexity is key because it means there's no single solution either.
Right. It's not just about telling someone to eat less, move more, is it?
It's often much more involved than that. Which brings us to the health risks because the article is very clear that this isn't just a cosmetic issue.
No, definitely not. The potential consequences sound quite serious.
They are. Obesity is a major risk factor for a whole list of chronic diseases.
Ugh.
Type 2 diabetes is a big one.
Yeah.
Heart disease and stroke, high blood pressure, hypertension, sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea can be really disruptive.
Hugely. Also, fatty liver disease, certain types of cancer like breast, colon, prostate, and joint problems, especially osteoarthritis because of the extra strain.
It's quite a list. Makes you take notice.
It does. But here's something really motivating the article highlights.
Okay.
Even a modest amount of weight loss, we're talking just 5 to 10% of your body weight, can significantly reduce the risk for many of these conditions.
Really? Only 5 to 10%.
Yes. That's often enough to see improvements in blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol levels.
Wow. Okay. That actually makes it feel less daunting, more achievable somehow.
Absolutely. It shows that you don't necessarily need dramatic changes to make a real difference to your health. Small, sustainable steps matter.
Which kind of leads to the next big question the article addresses. If the risks are clear and even small changes help, why is losing weight and keeping it off so darn hard for so many people?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The article points out several common challenges.
Like the whole yo-yo dieting thing. Lose it, gain it back, repeat.
Exactly, that cycle is really common and frustrating. Then there's the idea of a slow metabolism.
Right.
Sometimes, when you cut calories significantly, your body adapts. It's called adaptive thermogenesis. Your body actually becomes more efficient and burns fewer calories to try and conserve energy.
It's a survival mechanism kicking in.
Precisely. Which can make continued weight loss harder over time, especially with very restrictive diets.
Well, this makes it tough.
Well, there are the psychological aspects, again, things like food addiction patterns or relying on food for emotional comfort.
Yeah, breaking those habits is hard.
Very. Plus, challenges like lack of motivation over the long haul, maybe not having good support systems or accountability.
And maybe setting unrealistic goals. Wanting results too quickly.
That's a big one, too. The desire for quick fixes. The article really stresses the need for a mindset shift here.
Away from quick fixes.
Yes, seeing it less as a temporary diet and more as a commitment to long-term lifestyle changes, sustainable habits.
Okay, so what are those sustainable, science-backed strategies the article recommends? What actually works long-term?
Well, the foundation is, perhaps unsurprisingly, a balanced diet, but it gets specific.
How so?
Focusing on whole, nutrient-dense foods, lots of fresh vegetables and fruits, lean proteins, chicken, fish, beans, lentils, whole grains like oats, brown rice, quinoa, and healthy fats.
Healthy fats like avocado, nuts.
Exactly. Avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil. And crucially, limiting the processed stuff, refined sugars often hidden in drinks and snacks, and sugary beverages in general.
So focusing on food quality, what about quantity?
That's the next point. Portion control. It can be tricky in our super size me culture.
Tell me about it. Any tips?
The article suggests simple things. Using smaller plates, actually measuring servings sometimes just to get a sense of proper portions, being mindful at buffets or restaurants.
Becoming more aware, basically.
Yes, and then of course physical activity. Can't forget that.
Right. What's the recommendation there?
Aiming for about 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week.
That sounds like quite a bit.
It can sound like a lot, but moderate intensity covers a lot of ground. Brisk walking, cycling, swimming, dancing, even gardening can count.
So it doesn't have to be hitting the gym hard every day.
Not at all. Strength training a couple of times a week is also really beneficial. The key is finding activities you genuinely enjoy so you'll stick with them. Consistency is vital.
Makes sense. Find your groove.
Exactly. Another point they raise is hydration, staying properly hydrated.
Just drinking enough water, how does that help?
Well, sometimes thirst can be mistaken for hunger. Staying hydrated can help regulate appetite. Plus, water is essential for metabolism.
Good reminder. I probably don't drink enough.
Many of us don't. And linked to that is sleep quality, another often overlooked factor.
Ah, yes, sleep. How does that tie in?
Lack of quality sleep can mess with the hormones that control hunger and fullness, specifically ghrelin, which stimulates appetite, and leptin, which signals fullness.
So poor sleep can actually make you hungrier and less satisfied.
It can, often leading to cravings for high-calorie, sugary, or fatty foods. So prioritizing 7-9 hours of good sleep is actually part of weight management.
Interesting. What about stress? That seems connected to everything these days.
It really is. Chronic stress leads to higher levels of the hormone cortisol.
And cortisol is bad for weight.
It can be. It's been linked to increased appetite and storing more fat, particularly around the belly area.
Ugh. So managing stress is key, too.
Definitely. The article suggests things like mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing exercises, yoga, whatever works for you to help manage stress levels.
Okay. Any other strategies mentioned?
Yes, a couple more practical ones. Tracking progress can be helpful for some people using a journal or an app to monitor food intake, exercise, maybe weight changes.
For accountability and seeing patterns.
Exactly. And finally, setting realistic goals. Aiming for that slow, steady loss of maybe 0.5 to 1 kilogram or 1 to 2 pounds per week.
Rather than trying to lose loads really fast?
Right. Those crash diets are rarely sustainable and can even backfire, as we discussed with metabolism. It's about the long game.
It all sounds very sensible, focusing on sustainable habits.
Which leads nicely into another section, busting some common weight loss myths. The article tackles a few persistent ones.
Oh, good. Let's hear them. What's myth number 1?
Myth 1, carbs make you fat.
Ah, the low-carb craze.
Yeah.
So, not true.
Not entirely. It's the type of carb that matters. The article emphasizes that complex carbs from whole grains, fruits, and vegetables are essential. They provide fiber, nutrients, and energy.
So it's the refined carbs, white bread, pastries, sugary stuff that are the main issue.
Precisely. Those should be limited, but healthy carbs are part of a balanced diet.
Good clarification. Okay, myth number 2.
Skipping meals helps you lose weight.
I can see how people might think that fewer meals, fewer calories, right?
Logically, maybe, but physiologically, it can backfire. Like we said, it might slow your metabolism.
Right, the adaptive thermogenesis.
Yeah, and it can also make you ravenously hungry later, increasing the risk of overeating or choosing less healthy options. Regular, balanced meals are usually better.
Okay. Myth number 3.
You can spot reduce fat, doing endless crunches to lose belly fat.
Oh, I wish this one were true. So no targeted fat loss.
Sadly, no. Your body decides where it loses fat from, and it's generally an overall process. Exercise strengthens muscles in a specific area, but it doesn't selectively burn fat just from that area.
Okay, managing expectations there. Last myth.
Myth 4, fat-free foods are always healthy.
I have always been a bit skeptical of those labels.
Rightly so. When manufacturers remove fat, they often add other things to make it taste good, usually sugar, salt, or artificial ingredients.
So you might end up consuming more sugar, which isn't helpful for weight loss.
Exactly. It's often better to have a smaller portion of the regular version or choose naturally low-fat foods instead. Reading labels is key.
Very useful myth busting. Now, the article also touches on medical treatments, right? For when lifestyle changes aren't enough.
Yes, it briefly covers those. These are generally considered for people with severe obesity, often defined by a very high BMI, or those with obesity-related health problems who haven't succeeded with lifestyle changes alone.
What kind of treatments?
It mentions prescription medications, giving examples like orlistat or the newer GLP-1 receptor agonists like semaglutide.
Now, those have been in the news a lot.
They have. And also bariatric surgery options like gastric bypass or sleeve gastrectomy, which physically alter the digestive system.
But these aren't casual options.
Absolutely not. They require thorough medical evaluation and supervision. They come with potential risks and side effects and require significant long-term commitment. It's a decision made carefully with a healthcare provider.
Crucial point. And it's not just physical, is it? The article brings up the psychological side, too.
Hugely important. The mental and emotional challenges are often just as significant as the dietary or exercise changes. Our relationship with food is complex.
So true.
The article suggests things like therapy or counseling, especially for issues like emotional eating or body image concerns.
Getting professional help.
Yes, or finding support through groups, either in person or online communities. Connecting with others on a similar journey can make a big difference.
Peer support.
Exactly. And sometimes working with a coach can help with setting goals, staying motivated, and navigating obstacles.
It really frames weight management as a holistic thing, mind and body.
It has to be. And approaching it with self-compassion, the article reinforces that this journey is about self-care, improving health and well-being, not about punishment or deprivation.
A much healthier perspective. Now, just briefly, the article mentioned a specific website, MarketShoppy.com.
Yes. It was mentioned as an example, of a place where you might find resources to support a weight loss journey.
What sort of resources?
Things like expert-recommended supplements, though, always best to check with a doctor, fitness trackers, healthy recipe books, maybe home workout gear, wellness courses. Basically, tools and information some people find helpful.
So like a potential resource hub.
Seems to be presented that way, yeah. An example of support systems available out there.
Okay, so pulling it all together, this article paints a picture of obesity as, well, undeniably complex. Lots of factors involved.
Definitely. No easy answers.
But it also provides a really clear roadmap, doesn't it? Focusing on those science-backed, sustainable lifestyle changes.
Exactly. It breaks it down into manageable areas: diet, activity, sleep, stress, mindset.
And it emphasizes that this isn't just about aesthetics, it's fundamentally about long-term health and well-being, reducing risks for serious diseases.
That's the core message. And that it's often a gradual journey. Every small, consistent choice really does matter and adds up over time.
It feels empowering, actually. Less about perfection, more about progress.
Well put.
So on that note, thinking about everything we've discussed, the interconnectedness of diet, activity, stress, sleep, our mindset, maybe a final thought for everyone listening. What is one small, sustainable change that really resonates most with you right now? Something to perhaps consider exploring further.
A great question to reflect on.
Thanks for digging into this with us today.